right, what is up? We got a special replay today. We are going to be going over one of the trickiest boss monsters to summon in Yu-Gi-Oh! In my opinion. So, yeah, if you can't guess already, this guy is going to be super fun. We'll kind of comment as we go along. The deck that we're using for this is by far not even close to being complete. Unfortunately, in Master Duel, there's some pretty expensive pieces, and this deck is terrible. Let me just start by saying this is one of the worst decks you can play. So many bricks in it. I happen to open one of the bricks of like many in this deck, but it's just so cool. If you can pull it off, it feels incredible. So let's go by play, and we'll comment as we go. So we're going second. This is a going second deck, if you can't tell by all of these board breakers here. And our job is to simplify the game state and stick an Ojama. In particular, Ojama Blue, which we just happened to rip off the top. So good. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and Lightning Storm and clean up the back row here. So what did they have? They had a Solemn Strike, a Ferret Flames, this thing literally farting, hilarious, and an Imperm. So none of these can counter a Destroy All Spells and Traps, so super huge that we started with that, to be honest. Now we have to rely on our opponent a little bit. We absolutely want them to kill this thing by battle so we can get our double search. So they're most likely on Dinomorphia. That's what I was thinking at this point. The fact that they're playing the Farting Ferret means, yeah, Dinomorphia for sure. So it's Morbin time, and they do bring out their Theresia, which is by far the best normal summon in this deck. They are able to set up their Fusion Trap, which is incredible. So they've definitely got some plays going here. Our Droplet might say otherwise. But yeah. Sure enough, they do indeed attack, go right to battle. Thankfully, they kill our blue, which is exactly what we wanted them to do. So now, we get to add two of the best cards in our deck to our hand. We'll add the Match and the Ojama. So at this point, I'm happy to reveal, we're trying to summon Arms Dragon Catapult Cannon. And so, to look at this guy, just so we understand kind of the requirements here, this thing is a house. It's absolutely cool with its effect, you know, banishing all cards your opponent controls in their graveyard. That's incredible, doing that as a quick effect. This is what makes it so tricky to summon, though. You have to have summoned VWXYZ and Armed Dragon level 7 in a duel, and then you can banish those cards from your field or graveyard. It's just crazy. Oh yeah, and then not to mention, they can't activate cards or effects with the same name as any banished cards. So if you pull this off and banish a bunch of their cards in field and graveyard, like, they're probably not playing the game. The challenge is, you have to first stick this guy by putting this ridiculous monster on the field and this one. And this one, I mean, you can just tell by the name, VWXYZ. There are 5 different monsters here you have to bring out to summon this guy, and all of these monsters are terrible. So, to say this is an uphill battle is an incredible understatement. So we go ahead and draw, and at this point, we go straight to battle. Because if I recall correctly, and if I read this right, this fusion spell only happens to the opponent's main phase. So the fact that they didn't trigger it means great. We'll just play on our opponent's during our turn during our battle phase. So we go ahead and use Ojamas. This is one of those expensive cards. For some reason, this is a freaking ultra rare. I don't understand why. All these cards are terrible, but it's an ultra rare, so a little bit tricky to craft in Master Duel, that is. But yeah, what we do is we basically send an Ojama card from hand or face up field to the grave to add one Ojama with a different name and one Armed Dragon monster from our deck or graveyard to our hand. And then after this resolves, we normal summon one of the cards that we added. So we pitch our Ojama, which is going to get us some serious value here. Grab the blue, grab the Armed Dragon level 5. At this point, we're going to normal summon with this thing's effect. We have not normal summoned using the basic game mechanic that everybody gets one normal summon / set per turn. So we're just going to normal summon off of this thing's effect and bring out the blue. In the battle phase, noteworthy. Now our Ojama will trigger. We get a triple search. Green, yellow, and black. Look at these adorably ugly looking guys. So they do leave their monster in attack position, which means prime opportunity for us to do a blue. Now, if we had more Ojamas, which we don't at this point, we could actually keep going. You can, in the battle phase, just keep using Ojama as long as you've got Armed Dragons to search out. Incredible. You can get so much value here as long as you're not killing yourself by crashing into your opponent. So we go ahead and pick up the second Assimilation and a Pajama. This thing's not doing anything. But the double assimilation is nice because one of these is going to get our XYZ monsters from the deck. And then this one's going to get our VWs. And we already have access to our Armed Dragon. So we're on our way. We just have to set it all up and hope our opponent misplays. So now in the main phase 2, we're going to fire off our assimilation here. poor Ojama Yellow. He's just having a bad time. He's not having a good time in Oja match either. He's getting worked by this Armed Dragon here. Love the Ojama artwork. Okay, so Ojama assimilation, you reveal a fusion, and then you banish Ojama monsters from hand, field, or grave, and then you'll bring out the materials that were listed on the revealed fusion. So we would bring out X head, Y dragon, and Z metal. So they're gonna go ahead and chain their Dinomorphia, which is fine. We do have a counter to that, thankfully. So they dump their their Stealthberg and their Diplo, and then they get to bring out Kendra. But yeah. So they do that. So now we're gonna bring out our XYZ pieces. So sick. We're immediately going to banish those into our XYZ Dragon Cannon. And now this thing does have actually a pretty decent effect. You can discard a card to target a card your opponent controls to attempt to destroy it. No once per turn on that, by the way. So we're gonna go ahead and force out Kendra. She will pay, and this is such a funny archetype. Their whole deck revolves around paying half. Pay half your life points to do X. Pay half your life points to do Y. So pay half to bring this thing out. This thing activates its effect by paying half again. So they're going to attempt to bring out basically another fusion because they banish the effect that they're trying to copy. So this is a great opportunity to droplet. Probably send away an Ojama here. Doing pretty solid. So now we've basically taken care of all of their interruptions, provided they don't have something crazy in hand. So we droplet their Kendra. No effect for you. This thing's going to go ahead and pop it. Now they will get their Diplo back here, but again, I don't think Diplo actually does anything. Because it's just going to set up, burn me a little bit, send a trap or whatever. So that's fine. Cool. Now we're just going to literally just proceed onwards. So we have V Tiger and W Wing now. So we have all of the components. We could banish these two to go into a VW and then banish the two fusions to go to the VW XYZ. The challenge here is I saw my opponent thinking. So I'm like, oh shit, they got Nibiru. That would absolutely ruin my day if they Nibiru me right here, because the materials need to be banished from the field to bring out these older fusion monsters. The new ABC cards are way better in that they can be banished from the graveyard, but I need everything to be on field here to truly pull this off. So I am just praying they just don't drop Nibiru and they wait a little too long. And sure enough, we are able to get the VW Tiger Catapult, which is just terrible. When I say these cards are bad, they're so bad. But it doesn't even matter. It does not even matter. Because at this point, we now bring out the VW XYZ, which, if you recall correctly from our Armed Dragon guy, the Catapult Cannon, all we need to do is summon this thing, and this thing can be in our graveyard too. We can banish the cards from our graveyard. So we needed to summon the VW XYZ, which is just a Herculean task in and of itself. But we got there. So now we have it. All we need left is to bring out our Armed Dragon, which, if you also remember, we have not used our normal summon this turn. We still have one normal summon, as indicated under the little thing off to the left here. So that's fine. They can drop Nibiru now. Now I feel very comfortable with them Nibiruing me. And sure enough. So they're going to go ahead and think they're all safe by taking out the VW XYZ. Little do they know, they just gave us another tribute fodder. So we take the token that they gave us, tribute it off for our Armed Dragon level 5. And what's cool is these guys are actually called Armed Dragon Thunder level 5. But their name becomes Armed Dragon level 5, which is great. And unlike their older versions, these guys can level up basically on, all in one turn. You don't have to wait till the end phase and then, have them, send themselves to level up or whatever. These are much better retrains. So as long as you've got monsters, which we happen to have a C, we can level up the 5 right on into a level 7. And now we're basically there. There's no stopping this Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon. So it's time. Oh yeah, we can get a little draw here, which is kind of fun. So we'll put back some Ojamas, we'll draw a card, and now. Come forth, Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon. We did it. We summoned the dude. Now, this thing says it only triggers on your opponent's turn. So what we're going to do is wait to see if they have anything. Our Ojama does technically protect it too, which is kind of nice. So that's totally fine. But at this point, all we needed them to do is like basically load up the field. If they have cards in hand, the smart thing to do is just hold on to your stuff against this guy. Because if you commit anything to the field, it's going bye-bye. So they try to end their turn, which is prime time. You don't want to activate this in the main phase. You might be playing in a talent or something like that. So I just wait. It just says during your opponent's turn. So I'll wait until the end phase. Do whatever they got to do. There's no way they're taking care of this guy. Or very unlikely, that is. And on the end phase, we just ruin their day. So you banish an Ojama, or any card really, from your deck or extra deck face up. Banish all cards your opponent controls and in their graveyard. Let's just enjoy. And that's it. Hard to stand up to the power of Armed Dragon Catapult Cannon. Lots more duels to come with these Ojamas. These are one of my favorite decks of all time, but I had to show off what was basically pulling this thing off on my first try. Obviously, you know, the opponent misplayed a little bit to help us get there, but yeah, get used to seeing a lot more of these terrible cards and awesome effects. All right, peace out.